Justice League fails. Cloud kills millions.
You threaten me? I'm in a nightmare.
So we're at GDC in San Francisco, and we've snuck into a suite where we've learned, basically you're showing off the full scope of Injustice finally. You're still keeping some characters secret for the release maybe, but you're really sort of giving us the full scope of the game now with all the different modes, everything that's in there. Can you just give us first of all a little bit of a lay of the land? What's in there?
Yeah, so our big thing with this game was to have even more content than we have with Mortal Kombat. So there's a story mode that is bigger and better than what we had. There's the standard single-player modes. There's fighting. There's online. We also have Star Lab simulators, which tell these little stories with custom gameplay for each and every character. That's just a taste of what there is.
Mm. So the story mode, of course, with these characters, you can sort of go a little bit in a different direction than you would in a normal fighting game where people might be anxious to get into the fighting. You sort of flesh out the characters and the conflict a little bit more. Can you tell us a little bit about the story and how you came about with this particular scenario?
Yeah, we wanted to try something really, really shocking in terms of the actual story. So the event starts with the destruction of Metropolis by a nuclear bomb and leads to this sort of... The prequel comic book tells the story of the rise to power of Superman in a regime context. So so what we have in the final product is this story mode that is very dark, very deep, and just provides a lot of content for people to go through, especially people that aren't necessarily traditionally fighting game fans.
And then how do you sort of tie in the entire cast in this? Because, you know, it's not just about Superman, is it?
No, not at all. So we wanted to have both characters like Superman, who people might, everyone knows, and then characters people might not know, like Solomon Grundy. So in story mode, you get to play as these different characters as you go through the experience. So you'll have a chapter as Batman, and then later on you might have a chapter as the Joker. So it lets you play different characters and actually experience the story from their viewpoint.
And also, the story mode mixes up the gameplay a little bit. It's not just straightforward one-on-one fights at all times. It's a little bit different things that you throw in there, right?
Yeah, so we call this story mode 3.0. So Mortal Kombat was story mode 2.0. This one adds these sort of mini games that you play throughout the story that actually affect the fight after it. So the example we showed was Batman throwing batarangs at specific points on Lex Luthor. If you win the mini game, you actually get to start the fight with an advantage. Lex will have taken the damage. So it affects the fight, and they're all different, unique, fun experiences that kind of extend the gameplay.
One thing that you also showed off that you're talking about now is sort of how you level up your sort of account basically, and you unlock stuff. Can you tell us a little bit how you unlock stuff in the game?
Yeah, so the big thing is everything you do is going to have an experience value attached to it. As you get more experience, your account levels up, and you can earn different things. You can earn unlocks. You can get skins. You can get secret characters. Like, who knows what you might unlock. So it gives us a chance to sort of tie what you get to how well you do and how far you progress.
So one thing that you also showed off here, and something that was very much loved in Mortal Kombat, the Challenge Tower, you're sort of bringing that back in a different shape in Story Labs, or in Star Labs, right. I should say, sorry. That whole thing is just an insane amount of challenges in there. Is it as challenging as the Challenge Tower? Because some of those challenges were just crazy. Yeah,
so we actually let the designers had the best of both worlds. So there's 240 missions, there's 10 per character that each tell a story. But they're all going to be fairly achievable for the average human being, who not like the terribly complicated ones in MK that I still haven't finished. But we added another mechanic where you actually can get up to 3 stars per mission, so you can do the sort of harder, more complicated things if you choose by getting that 2nd and 3rd star. And there's a really cool unlock associated with getting all 720.
Quite a few hours to get that one, though.
Yeah, a ridiculous amount of hours, yes. But that's what we wanted to do. A lot of content for people that don't necessarily want to go online. It's just a ton for them to play around with and have fun for weeks and weeks and weeks after they buy the game.
So one thing that we're not really allowed to talk about in detail is the iPad version, but you are announcing it. It's official that there is something coming, right?
Yes. I would love to spend 20 minutes talking about it, but we have announced that it is coming.
And it's a cool thing that it's the same. You're within the same house that you're doing all this, so it really is sort of like one Injustice, whatever version you're gonna gonna have.
Yeah, we take it very seriously. It's the NetherRealm team. It's in-house programmers and designers. Many of the guys worked on the console game and go back and forth. So it's a chance to bring the core team of a AAA developer and apply it to our own game, and it's something we love doing.
So speaking of post-launch and stuff, do you have a rollout plan? Do you have a schedule of events planned for players up ahead?
In terms of like events and
DLC and that sort of thing?
Here's the problem with NetherRealm. We tend to want to keep working until the last second to jam in as much content as possible. So up until recently, we've still been trying to get stuff on the disc because we're big fans of value. So we're going to definitely start thinking about some of the things we can do. We're looking at characters and whatnot. So hopefully we can support this for a long time to come.
Thank you very much for your time. And do we have a release date, right?
We do. It's in the US, April 16th. In Europe, April 19th.